I want people to understand that there's so much to life, whether you're the CEO or the janitor.
Giving everything you do at 150% will change your mindset and your perception of what you're doing.
On this episode of the Now or Never podcast, Tim sits down with his beautiful better half, Brittney Rexius, and Joe Binley from Project AD zooms in to the podcast. They talk a little business, they talk a little bit about their past, and they talk a lot about the future.
Welcome to the Now or Never podcast, all things entrepreneurship, people who just take life and kick it in the ass. With my special guest, Brittney Rexius, and the man himself, Joe Binley. Bro, like, are you in LA right now?
This is not how we planned it, Tim.
No. You were supposed to be here a couple of weeks ago, and then all this crazy shit.
I know. I was so looking forward to the trip up
it's
to
still
Nebraska.
cold here, even.
I was like on countdowns. I love coming up there. It's like being back home.
Oh yeah, and it's still cold here, so you really feel like home.
Cold,
I know
so
you do.
I don't know why I relocated to California.
So, are you in Los Angeles right now, then, or where are you at?
I live in Huntington Beach.
I mean, nice.
Yeah, it's one of the. It's probably one of the nicest places that I ever visited. You know, because I've been coming backwards and forwards for 10 years to the States.
Yeah,
and it's just the one place I visited where I'd actually felt relaxed for the first time. That was like in 2013.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to live in LA from being a child. So that was like always, I'm going to end up there one day. And everyone just laughs at that kind of stuff. But yeah, whatever. Yeah. You're like a kid from the farm in the middle of nowhere that like doesn't even have a village shop. It's like, how are you going to get there? I'm like, well, I'm going to get there one day.
Yeah.
So it was there from childhood, and then when I visited, I was like, okay, this is the area. I'm going to come back, and this is where I've landed. So,
well, we had said like she had said something about like, is he living out there now? I'm like, well, judging by how more and more tan he gets, I'm going to go with he's there all the time now. So
I get that comment so much because I've been literally been pale my whole life.
Yeah, I was going to say
I used to play cricket, which is a summer sport. So I knew I would be out in the field, like playing all day. I'll be working the farm in the summer. And so I knew I had the ability to get some tan. But everyone here's like, you injecting melanotan? What are you taking?
That's what I thought you were doing. Yeah.
I was like, I go for a walk every day. If I'm not traveling, like that breaks up my day for like 45 minutes, usually mid-afternoon, because I'm an early riser with the time difference. I go to bed quite late and I can't stare at the same four walls. I've got to move.
Yeah.
So just going out for like 45 minutes a day, I just catch it, you know. So
like, what's it look like out there? Is everything pretty well locked down where you're at? Like there's...
God, it's California, dude. You can imagine.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
I think we were one of the first places to be shut down.
Yeah.
So it's been nearly a month now. Where I am, not like the mask wearing isn't enforced in stores yet. I'm just waiting for that to come. I don't own a mask.
Yeah.
I was in bed for 16 days. So I'm guessing it was the virus, but they weren't testing.
Yeah.
But I had all the symptoms, and my brother actually had it the week before in the UK, and our symptoms kind of matched. But it hit me a little harder with having the pre-existing autoimmune conditions, which I've been struggling with for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That wiped me out for, say 16 days, and I was sleeping anywhere between 16 and sometimes I'm getting on for 20 hours a day.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's, I talked to Frank a little bit and said you were just down for the count, so he thought you had the corona, so.
Yeah, and then I've been good for about 10 days now, I'm back at 100%, but I don't know. I think it's time to relax things. I don't want to get stuck into the virus because everyone's talking about it too much, but I think it's time now just to start relaxing, or else the economical ramifications are just going to be too much for people to come back from.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, like, so you just basically launched Professor Nuts here in the U.S. for the most part, like at the same time. Talk about timing. Oh, no shit, right? I mean, if you guys haven't tried Professor Nuts, I mean, listen to this. Oh my God,
it's amazing.
I had to hide it in my office because my assistant stole my jars and ate it all. So I got a couple of jars at home that I've been hiding from the rest of my family.
Likely story, Tim.
No anymore.
Likely story. Blame it on the assistant.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't me. Yeah, I mean, the phenomenal product. You had your team set up. You've been working at this for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't.
It's been going on for 3 years, like legitimately. And I've invested. There's been honestly a lot of stress in this product because it's such a disruptive technology. And I'm like, before I put my name on something, it's like, God, I've got to convince myself, and it's like, so we had so much anecdotal evidence, and obviously we did a soft launch and, we got attacked. And I've spent a decade building my reputation. Obviously over here, it's been like 5 years in the States, but in Europe and specifically the UK, it's been 10 years. And I was back then, Tim, like you'll know because you've been in it for a while, like not everyone could, you weren't just building a brand from nothing then. You couldn't just start a brand. You had to kind of be invited into the industry and have someone of status with a strong history who's well known, put their name on you to have that trust. And that was given to me straight out of university. I was consulting for the biggest sports nutrition online retailer and one of the biggest UK brands whilst I was in university, like the last 12 to 18 months of my degree. I was actually doing tooling agreements in China and importing packaging materials from China for them. So to have those guys put their name on me, that means a lot. I have a very strong moral code and code of ethic. So when someone trusts you and puts their name on you, then I've always carried that through. So going back to Professor Nuts, we did the soft launch, and then there was, I won't mention any names, we all know, like some of the people who spoke out against it. And I was already planning on doing a study. It was already in progress. The study wasn't in progress, but the proposal and application was in progress at university down in Texas, TCU. And literally that was like, so we launched in November 2000 and, God, what was it, 2018?
18.
Yeah.
Because I was pregnant.
We were a soft launch because we gave it to you guys at the Olympia to try that year. It was like, a few couple of months away. So we got so much kickback. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm going to sit on it for as long as it takes to get a study.
Yeah.
So we started the process with TCU. They were very excited to do it. And then in January, the lead researcher got recruited to go somewhere in the Northeast to go do the military. It was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and he'd been there for a lot of years. So when he left, they're like, well, we haven't got the resources now. We could be, 12 to 18 months away from having the capacity to do this study. I'm like, well, that's no good to me. We'd already agreed to this design study and the cost. And like, how much I've put into this product, like financially, is just a whole other animal in itself. It was a huge, huge investment. So then I was like, got to start from scratch again. And I reached out to Ryan Lowry, who's really well known in the industry and very strong in the keto community. And I was like, hey, I've got this product. Will you guys be interested in undertaking the study? So they were like, yeah, we'd love to do something. So I sent them all the design briefs that I had with TCU. So it was quite quick to put together. And they could actually get people to participants for the study much quicker than TCU because they obviously have like spring break and holidays, vacations and breaks. Whereas out in Tampa, where Ryan and Jacob was involved, overseeing the study as well, but Ryan was really heading it up. They just have athletes in their own facility every single day training and people in there. So it was easy to get participants that weren't going to drop out because with every study, you get a high dropout rate. So I know there was another video that came out after the study and they're like, oh, well, there's only this many participants. I'm like, do you understand the cost to have people stick to that? Because it was done over such a long period where they're staying on the same diet and then they have a washout period and then they run the second product, so it's a long time. So having people to adhere to that, it's a big ask, it's a big commitment.
Well, I mean, and that's, like when you first did your soft launch, I mean, she was pregnant, so she was getting down on the Professor Nuts because she was eating everything. But well, you were. That's what I think of people who watch this. A lot of entrepreneurs like understand anytime you do something, you're going to have your haters come out, and sometimes it's just because they're jealous they didn't come up with it. And sometimes it's to put yours down to promote another brand. I remember somebody else putting his down. I remember putting yours down. I remember this vehemently. Put yours down and 3 days later launched their own. Yeah. And I got so pissed.
It's
I was like,
Tim, I want to differentiate. And I always believe that I've raised the standard. Yeah. Like with every supplement I've released, I've been well ahead on. They've all got a unique sell point. We never do anything that's generic. So with this being so different, I wanted to do something to differentiate us again. Yeah, we've got the product, but we both know, being in this industry long enough, there's people out to make a quick buck.
Oh yeah.
And just the thought of me putting out this product without a study behind it, we have a ton of anecdotal evidence. We've actually got another, it's an anecdotal study that I didn't even know about. Alex Kickle, one of our coaches, he's so impartial. He had 40 of his athletes, competitive and non-competitive. He was running tests that I didn't even know about. We've not even published those results, but they all showed the same thing as the study. It made no impact whether we're in a calorie surplus or a calorie deficit to the weight loss or weight gain. So, I mean, we've not even put that out. But when you go back to the haters, I mean, Quest, they got a ton of kickback when they released the Quest bar, and they didn't do a study. So I was like, well, Quest got away with it without doing a study, and it didn't stop them.
Yeah.
So, I'll take the 9-10 months with Ryan and Jacob to go through the process. I'm going to be honest, I was nervous as hell when it got to November the results with you. I'm I put so much into this product, sweat equity, and just the stress levels were off the hook at some points because that, when people are saying negative things about my company and questioning my integrity more than anything, it's more about the integrity. I just feel sick, and I'm getting better with it now because I'm doing the stuff on JTV, and you read the comments, and I just find them hilarious. So it's more like water off a duck's back. But back then, it used to affect me a lot, and a lot of stress and health. I have a massive knock onto my health.
And you can't. It can in the negativity because you build your business based on integrity and character, values, and who you are. It's you. It's not just your company. It's you they're attacking. And it's funny. I told this in a couple of podcasts, but I did a video on social media. I've learned to let it roll off my back. I just don't give a shit anymore. The bigger I get, the more people that come at me. The YouTube comments, they crack me up for the most part. But I was doing a video on Instagram on Shreddable. And which is the greatest fat burner ever. Nobody's ever taken it. Shreddable, Project AD, make you sweat like you wouldn't believe. So I'm doing a video on it, and some dude, because I'm in Nebraska, right? Some dude from California, it was San Diego or LA, was popped and commented on the video. They go, "But you're fat, bro." And I replied, but my staff's freaking out. They're like, he's being negative. He's you're full of shit. You're fat, bro. And so I replied, I got this. I replied back and said, well, no shit. That's why I'm taking a fat burner, homie. If I was skinny, I wouldn't need it. And he replied back, got her phone number, called the center shop and bought it over the phone. Yeah. Listen, it's just one of those, but it is. I understand exactly because you put a lot into this. So this has been years. Mm-hmm. And it is hard for somebody because you build your company around you. That's like you said, you have credit, you have credentials, and versus, certain bigger companies that just are out there to make a buck. They'll weather a storm because they don't care. They'll pump up with a new product if another one gets bad press. But with guys like you and me, it's capital intensive to bring out something. Yeah. Especially when your name's on it.
Well, yeah, and you've got to look at the history of the company. There's been no investment. There's been no bank loans. There's been no big startup fund. Product one was 500 bottles or something. I had $2,000 to start the company with. Yeah. So product one became product two, became product three, became product four, became product five. There's only a certain growth rate that you can uptrend. There's only a certain rate of growth you can deal with that because you've got such limited reserves. So it's only this January, last November, December, January, we're actually starting doing the paid advertisements and things because I've had the resources too. And I'm all my guys around me, it's well, you need to. I'm look. I know exactly about time pacing to build the business. Time pacing for product releases is times to, and I relate this to bodybuilding for a lot of athletes who don't get it. Like, there's a time to push and there's a time to hold. It's the same with your body. There's a time you can really push through a growth phase. It's the same as business. There's a time to push through a growth phase. Then sometimes you've got to just get homeostasis, sit back and hold, recoup, and then go again, you know. Using this virus as an example, I've taken all the positives out of this situation possible. I've got all my team together, formulated the strategy that we're going to grow when we bounce out of this, and just like really reinstalled morale, because everyone's always at 100 miles per hour. So we've been on multiple calls together as a group, individually, just like, look, we're going to be fine, relax. Like, we've never had an overdraft and we've always been in the black. So if we don't get sales for April and even in May, like, we're going to be good. It's been, I've built the company very thriftily, to say the least, which was, again, that was difficult coming and launching in America, because I was coming back like 2 years back and forth. It was like 6 weeks here, 8 weeks UK, 6 weeks here, 8 weeks back in the UK. Because I had all of the UK customers to look after as well. So that's what really burned me out. And then Frank joined and he was like, oh, well, we need this and this and this. And Frank's been awesome, by the way. Like, I'm not the most, I'm different. So working with me, you've just got to have a lot of trust. And when I say something's going to work, you just got to believe it and not question it, which is difficult. When you've got like a guy from another country coming and saying, look, this is the way it rolls, it goes against the grain. So he was like, we need samples, we need like X, Y, and Z, we've got to do this. I was like, tell me exactly why we need that without saying because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like, okay. I was like, well, we're going to roll a little bit differently, but trust the process, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's Frank, and that's, you know, I knew Frank from Species and then Run Everything Labs, which pissed me off. And so I talk, Frank and I would talk, but he's like, I got this new company, Project AD, and I knew who you were. I was like, no more Frank. Frank, no more Frank. I'm still getting rid of the last stuff he sold me.
Like, just doing that was like the hardest thing for him, because he'd just done the Run Everything Labs, and he was like, I don't want to be one of those guys that jumps.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't, because I've been at Species for so many years. And then I went, and it's like, I've only been here for a few months, and guys have trusted me to bring in that line. And it's like, I feel shitty if I go again. I'm like, well, look, dude, I'm going to be around for a long time. And it's funny, because I sat him down when we were talking. I was like, this is where we're going to be year one. This is where we're going to be year two. This is where we're going to be year three. Like, the actual turnover I kind of predicted. I was like, this is going to take a minimum of 3 years. Year one, the goal is to break even and not make a loss. That is all. And honestly, I've been within pretty much on the money. You can ask Frank, like, pretty much on the money with every single year with my predictions, because you've just got to be patient. And that was the hardest thing for Frank, because he's like always chasing numbers. I'm like, dude, you ain't going to get the numbers.
That's like, the sales guy. That's the sales guy in him. He wants the numbers, you know. But it's hard to get out of that realm, though. You know, it's
and he's still there now, somewhat. And I always have to say, look, there's no gun to your head for numbers, you know. But what you've got to do is, like, with guys like you who have multiple stores and God knows how many brands come into you every single week, you just got to be consistent. Yeah. Go and knock on the door, and if you don't answer the door, like, just leave something on the doorstep. And then you'll go and knock again. It's like, it might be a year down the line and you've knocked 4 or 5 times, but it's like, this guy ain't going away. And then you start looking, it's like, well, what are they about? Because they've not sold out online. They're still here. How many other companies have been into my store and then dropped off?
Yeah.
Or come in and given me a promise and then done the exact opposite thing, like 6 months later.
That's a lot of them. That's a lot. Yeah. Well, was because you guys came up with Frank, and he's like, you got to meet Joe. Once you meet Joe, you're going to buy it. And sure as shit, we met, and I found out you're basically just a farm kid, the same as me, and tell me the story why I came with the logo and the name and all that stuff. And after that, it was, all right, well, I love this. I mean, that's for us, it's a mainstay at this point. It never goes away. It stays.
It's taken 10 years. I'm in year 11 now, just to get to the point where now I can start having fun and like the things I had planned, I can start doing. So if you look at our industry, Tim, and this is where we're really going to start to accelerate our growth curve this next 2 to 3 years. Because what does every single company do? They'll launch maybe a fat burner, a pre-workout, a protein, they'll add maybe some creatine, a weight gainer, but it's all the same demographic that they're aiming at. Everyone's aiming at the same demographic. And the way they'll build the business is vertically. So this is what I explain to like all my team when they come in. It's like, look, this is what we're doing. This is the long-term plan. No one else does it like this. So you've just got to be patient. Look at what we've done. They'll build vertically. So they'll start here. Okay, we're going to go into retail. So they'll come into your store and they'll sell to you. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Then they'll get to a point where they're almost stagnant. It's like, okay, now we need to sell online. We're going here. We'll just do it through our website. Then we'll have a few partners. Yeah. Okay, now we need Amazon. Yeah. Now we've got to get some international. And once you've got to that international, the online and the domestic, who've probably dropped you out now because you're switching businesses for the online, and you've got some international, where do you go from there? Yeah. That glass ceiling is there. You've exhausted it. Whereas I'm like, we grow horizontally. Yeah. So we start with the sports performance products, and the AD Elite Series is always going to be protected. Yeah. So I came into your store, was it 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Some guys will be 4 or 5 years ago. And it's like, look, this is going to be only available on our website, the Elite Series. And that's still true now. So, but I knew there'd be glass ceiling on that business model, the same as everybody else. So it's like, we're not doing that. So I needed the time to build out that line, and that gave us X amount of growth. And then you saw me introduce AD Wellness, which is now AD Life. And I was the first guy in the sport. I don't know any other sports nutrition brand that had a heart product 4 years ago. So we started looking at that. I was like, okay, this is going to take a little time to build, but this is the one that can go more general population. We'll allow it to go online eventually. And if it's built out enough, then it can go into mass market. So you've got two legitimate different brands. One that's protected for your retailers, it's not available anywhere else. One the retailers can buy and it's helpful. That's more mass market. And then Professor Nuts, which is a food item, which goes everywhere. And they all complement each other, because you might get someone wanting to buy 1 jar of Professor Nuts, then they look like, oh, these guys do health products. Let me check that out. Oh, I might just buy one from the health products. And it's like, well, I occasionally work out what else have these guys got. So you start with 1 jar of peanut butter, you go into a health product, then you go into a performance product, and you've got that person how long? It's like a lifetime. They're always going to trust you and come back to you because the one thing's worked.
Oh, then I agree.
They're growing horizontally across, and then you start stacking on top of that, and that's where the real ripple effect, the wave effect, comes for growth.
Well,
no one really gets.
Well, you've set it up multi-generational. I mean, you're not even just making a vitamin. Like you're about to launch a bergamot, citrus bergamot, which I saw that, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. For cholesterol. I saw it on the ad. I was like, and I told her, I get all jacked. She was, why are you excited? I'm like, I've been waiting for somebody else to bring that other than Jaro for 5 years. Like, because like me, I'm what I'm trying to do is sell multi-generational. I don't want just the sports customers. I love them. I'm a sports guy, but my parents are retired. I want them to have stuff that they can avoid medications. I want my kids to be healthy. I want multi-generational, because there's not just one type of customer. And you find your retailers, we rely on the entire community. So I need the food items. I need the Professor Nuts. I need the stuff for cholesterol. I need the good vitamin. I also need the sports, because we're all trying to get in shape. And the way you model your company is pretty much how we try to model our retail. And I think it's smart because you've got these great retail partnerships. And I got a theory. This is my theory, and I'll let you pop in on it in a second. But I don't look at the internet and the apps and the voice technology and all these things as a negative to my industry at all. Whatsoever. I consider it a great levelizer. I think a lot of the guys who spent the last 10 years in this industry, the same as you and I have, and previously, back to the early 2000s in the retail marketplace, or a lot of the marketplace, were trying to buy their business. They either had the best location in the best shopping mall, which now is too damn expensive, or they had the best website platform, but they didn't have the personality. That's why bodybuilding.com is down 67% since 2015. It all comes down to relationships. I think that you're seeing a lot of these bigger chains, GNCs, the vitamin shops, the complete nutritions all go under. And what you're left is with these really good retail locations that have good roots in the community that have that. And that's who you partner with. You've really partnered with in a lot of locations are the ones who've made it. Like, GNC closed, nothing against GNC. There's some great franchisees. I know a lot of those guys, but they've closed 11 in my area in the last 18 months. And we've opened 6 new stores. I'm not saying and there's no trust fund behind this. I don't have some big bank loan. It's just us finding good communities where there's a good reach and good brands we partner with. I mean, I think that poises you, same with me, into the future because your base is strong. You're not
again, this is what I have to constantly drum into Frank and Joey, because Frank will get frustrated every now and then. You know how he is.
Oh yeah.
But because it's hard when you getting no's, or it's people that want things, and he's so sales driven. If he doesn't sell on a given day, he's just don't speak to him. You want to avoid him. But it's he was well, where do you think this can be? Just with the I'm well, I'll give you a number. I know exactly where we're probably going to max out going through retail stores. But guess what? Retail stores are our longest serving partnerships. They're the company's bread and butter, and they're secure because they've got relationships with the customer base. You get real time feedback. So if we launch a product and you message me and say, Joe, that tastes like absolute shit, I'm being honest with you because it's all the feedback from the customers. Or I'm going to go and change the flavor profile because I'm getting real time feedback. I'm this is the core and the bread and butter of the business. Yeah, we might have a good run online or on Amazon, but who knows? Because the landscape changes every 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Oh yeah. So to put all your eggs in one basket is just moronic, but that's what people keep doing. You know, so we stay centered there. And then, as I said, it's that horizontal base just allows you to go offshoot, offshoot, offshoot. You're always protecting that core that we started from day one, which I'll never step away from, not continuously evolve and come out with new products and be ahead, because that's where all the companies fail, in my opinion. You watch every other company, as company owners or as figureheads change or as they sell the company, they lose their core of the company and their identity, what built the brand, and then eventually once that's gone, they just fall away completely.
That's the thing is, I don't think people are loyal to brands as much as they're loyal to the people that represent the brand. I think that's people buy into personality, they buy into a movement, they buy into. I don't have the fanciest stores. I didn't do the $100,000 build outs for my retail locations because, shit, we couldn't afford it. But my first store ever opened 10 years ago is 3 blocks from here, and it's I've upgraded it. We painted it a couple times, but it is what it is. But we keep growing year after year just because we're here. This is they follow us. There's no filtered Instagram posts with Brittney and Tim Rexius. And, we also built our company on, we're very frugal. Yeah. And it's funny. We just talked about this yesterday with younger entrepreneurs that are going to, follow a guy like you and follow a guy like me, and they want to know how to make it. It's simple. You got to bet on yourself, 1, and 2, you got to live a life of less than now, so later you can live a life more than anyone else later. And if you come into our house right now, you're going to see 2 couches we bought at Menards with an 11% mail-in rebate because I have 6 kids and 3 dogs. Even if I
don't know how you guys do it. I always tell people just to go and look at you. I'm look at the business, look at the development, do some look at the history, and then factor in the family life. I'm I struggle to look after myself. God knows how you guys manage it.
I do all the work.
And I drink. No, I'm just kidding. But us at this point, it's a family biz. But for us, and that's what we're raising our kids with when they're watching all this going on. That they see us, we grind. The one, I guess, positive we've talked about on our podcast with all this going on is that we can't work quite as much because I can't travel. For the first time in 10 years, I can't go to my other locations and other states and do anything. I just communicate. We're conferencing, calling. We're doing that stuff all the time. We're doing the podcast. So I've actually got more home time than I've ever had. which also gives me more time to brainstorm and figure out what we're going to do. And we're making improvements inside our gyms that nobody even knows about, because we're going to come out of this. And I plan on kicking it right in the teeth come July and just taking everything over. I'm not negative, I do positive.
Exactly the same. And you'll notice a difference in our relationship in the next month or two when we're coming out of this, because, it's just identifying who your key partners are. And we're going to be doing something exclusive every 3 months for you guys, where we're both involved. You have input in what you want from us.
Oh, absolutely.
We grow together. I know the brands are really working like that. They'll come in and give you a special or some samples and stuff, and there's no follow through, there's no relationship. So you're probably going to be hearing a lot more from Frank, because I've put out a full brief and outline and things we can offer you guys. It's like, well, we want more SKUs in your store, and we want to be able to give you the tools. We want to give you a deal every 3 months that's unique to you, maybe a unique product and unique flavor. Co-advertising, all those things that companies just have forgotten to do, that were done initially and they've got away from.
We've talked about that. Get back to the basics. It's all about the relationship. That's like, especially times right now, that it's my budget gets a little tighter. Retail's down a little bit just because discretionary income's down. But we're good. People are loyal to us. But we've spent the time. And I said, if we got a choice between what brands we're going to carry, because we got to keep it down, the people we have partnerships with, Project AD and all the guys that we have partnerships with. And it was funny because we had my post up. I don't know what video I had, but Joe popped in there and it's like, my 10-year anniversary starting this company is this August 1st. And you bet your ass I'm throwing block party. I don't give a damn. This stuff better be over with. We're doing it. And we'll hopefully have everyone out, because I speak so highly of you all the time, and a lot of people around here want to meet you anyways. And I said, let's just give Joe the room and let him do his thing.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of fun for me, because I'm not worried right now. Like, we're taking care of our company. We're taking care of our employees or our family. They'll get paid before we do, and we're good because we've lived so frugal and because we're so damn cheap. I'm good. I can survive on next to nothing. Yep. So as long as my people are good for a couple months, I'm good. We'll make it through this stronger than before.
Yeah. You know what? I said the same to Brad, one of our athletes. He's been with me. He just signed his contract. This is his 5th year. He was like, I went down to see him last week, and he was like, hey, I'll roll my commission back in for the month on my sales. I was like, no, you freaking won't. I was like, everyone gets paid. Like, you said about your couch. He's like, dude, I'm in this apartment is my first fixed address in almost a decade.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Because I've lived on the road for that long. Wow. And I've got nothing in here. I've got a TV, which was given to me by a friend who had already put it in before I even flew out, and 2 sofas that they didn't want. And that's the only thing that's come in here other than the coffee machine and the blender. I've made no changes. I had to buy a couple of fans because I run hot all the time, but literally it's a bare shell. And I'm like, well, if I have people come and visit, I'm like, and they want some stuff, we'll go and buy a table and chairs or whatever.
Joe,
I'm good,
Well, yeah, how do you stay up with all the Harry and Meghan news, though? Don't you have to stay up on everything royal?
Oh, dude. Do you care? Why do you think I live over here? Everyone always says, because half the people don't understand what I say, but when they do understand what I say, like, where are you from, Australia? I'm like, no, try the other side of the world. Yeah. But when they eventually get to England, like, oh, I'd love to go there. I was like, no, you wouldn't. Don't waste your time somewhere else.
It's funny. We've talked before, and I've told people about you literally didn't have a fixed address for ever. Like, you were 6 weeks, 8 weeks, nonstop. I think people really realize the amount of time and dedication you put into trying to run, especially in the United States and back home. I started when I was, what was it, 2000, and it was early 2009. I started the first, the products. 2009 Olympia, I flew out to meet my manufacturing partner, who's still with me to this day, by the way. No,
and so anyone who's looking at people in the industry, or because it's an ego-driven industry, it's do your research before you align yourself with someone. Go on the social media and see who they've had around them and how quick they turn people over. If they've had people around them for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, you can tell that they keep people around. if they're with a different crew or they're hanging out with different friends every single week and you don't ever see them again, that'll tell you all you need to know about the person.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was 10 years. So I said when I started the company, and because look, I got laughed at, of course. Like people in the industry thought I was nuts because I'm always manufactured in the US. So I'm like a 23-year-old kid, I'd say I was a kid, launching a brand out of the UK, still living on the family farm. You know, order the products, put them in the shed, and like mail them out myself.
That's why that peanut butter is so good.
Yeah, it's like, why are you producing and manufacturing in America? I was like, 1, I get better materials. 2, I've got good relationships, and 3, it's an American brand. I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, US manufacturing, US address, and I'm just starting in the UK. It's like, this is going to be an American brand. I'm going to make it in America. And they're like, they'll just laugh. I mean, you're probably quite skeptical if you've got a 23-year-old kid telling you all this stuff and he's just got like 500, 1,000 bottles of one product.
Yeah.
But like the vision was there, and I said to myself, Tim, like, I'm going to give this until I'm 35 years old. And then I'll know I've given it a fair shot. And if I can't make anything happen by the time I'm 35, then maybe I'll look to do something else. And that's the only reason that I went through university and did a degree.
Yeah.
Just so there was something to like fall back on at the end. And my mother specifically wanted me to go to university. It meant a lot to her because no one, apart from my older brother, no one else had been through university. So I'm like, you know what, I'll do that and it's some security. But I'm going to do my own thing regardless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, we've talked like it's starting out on just you, because that's how I started. It was just me. And Shane was my first employee. It was 6 months into it. He's like, hey, I want to start my own store. And I made him my partner instead. But it was just me. So like to this day, like you and I have talked about this specifically. It's so hard for me to delegate out responsibilities in your company. You started from nothing because it's your baby. It's your child. And to this day, I still do all the books. I still do all the accounting.
Drives me crazy.
And my wife's an accountant, and she still doesn't get to do it yet. She'll fix it when I screw it up, but
which is all the time.
I do not screw it up all the time. Talk about that a little bit. How hard is it for you to delegate out responsibilities? I mean, she's an accountant, and I still don't let her touch my books. Even though I'll ask her when I screw something up, but
what a vote of confidence that is.
Well,
yeah. Thanks.
I have my way of doing it, and it's such a habit for me every day to get in and check deposits and check accounts and and do my thing. I just can't. It's like so hard to give it away. I mean, I know we both have talked about this, like as your companies grow, and it's hard to figure out and try to get people like focus on just one area. But also like certain things you just want to keep in tow just with yourself.
Well, there's certain things that I just can't give away because I come up with all of the products, the design. Like no one can design products for me. I have to do it because they're my own. Every product's a piece of myself.
Yeah.
So no one can go into my head and extract the information and even my take on what the literature and the information says. It's like I can read a study and it'll send me down a rabbit hole that's completely unrelated. So no one's going to ever be able to replicate that. So when people would copy your products, I'm like, yeah, you can copy these products, but you ain't going to copy like what's coming next.
Yeah.
We've already got, how many products have we got? We've got 3 AD Life products all signed off. The POs are in. There's another SKU for AD Elite series. And you probably give you something. Only idiots like me and you are probably dumb enough to use this opportunity of time, like to actually get ready to launch another business.
Yep.
So like I've done the feasibility study on that. So that'll come maybe late in the year. And then I've already been working on another business, which is probably not even going to be ready until 2023. So that's how long range the planning is. So no one can ever like take that spot. But it's getting the right people in place. But we've come to that point now where certain people have been with me or they've joined. And when they joined, the company's evolved so much.
Yeah.
They need to learn to evolve because if they can't evolve and grow with the company, there's no place for them.
Yeah.
And it's really, I don't want to be like cutthroat because relationships, everything to me, but sometimes you got to tell people, it's like, hey, come on. For us to grow, you've got to step up and improve your skill set. And if you don't want to improve your skill set, you can't grow with the company because we need Like, the company to grow, you've got to grow as a person. And, you know, if I can trust you as a person, you'll get more responsibility, but you've got to display to me that you've got the skill set and the abilities to take over that responsibility. And that's the hard part.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I know you've got a couple of guys who've been with you for a long time, and you can build around that because you understand the company culture and you understand, like, your mindset as an owner.
Well, it's like
someone new coming in, working with, like, Tim Rexius or working with me, these guys are completely a bit weird. It's a bit different, like, yes, but once you get it, you'll enjoy it and have the most prosperous career if you're willing to step up.
Well, and that's where we're at, you know. And I told them all the same thing. Like, we'll set the culture, obviously, and you need to repeat the culture with everyone, because we're at the point now where I can't work with everyone because it's gotten too big. But at the same point, like, I go, don't try to be good at 20 things. Find your 5 and kick ass at it. And so I keep their fair, you know, and they need to grow in that area and become an expert. I want them to come.
Oh my God, dude!
You know,
I don't know. We must have been, like, separated somewhere or gone. I don't know. But it's exactly the same rhetoric as I say. Because I tell my guys, you don't all need to be talking to each other. And like, we're marketing guys, so he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You need to talk to me, and you need to do the marketing." I was like, "You don't need to have your fingers in every pie, because half the time when they're talking, it's just gossip and noise." Yeah. Like, I don't need you to know about this, this, and this. I need to know your job inside out. So when I ask you a question, you can answer me immediately and give me the numbers, the reports, run the analytics, whatever it may be. And then we can make the judgment call on what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
I don't need you to, like, be scratching your head and come back. So I'll come back to you in a week. Like, I need the information there and then. So you better know your shit off by heart and know your job inside out and everything about that job. You know? And like you said, be an expert at that job, because that's your actual... You're the vital cog in the wheel.
Well, that's like, if I
you're not turning and everyone else is, then we're going to slow down.
Well, that's what I said. If you're into, you know, logistics, if you're doing in the marketing, if you're in the video, or if you're in, you know, the wholesale portion, whatever, I want you to be better at that than me. I want you to become the expert in that, because that way, I don't have the time to go 1,000% into every area. Like, my job is to oversee all of it and put it together as a cohesive mission, but I need you to get better at it than me. And I kind of
that's why we just brought in Melissa, which you've not met Melissa yet, but she used to work at Quest. Mm-hmm. And then she went to Gap for a short period. But I don't know the supermarkets here. I don't have contacts with the buyers. I don't know that side, because I'm not even from the country. I've not even heard of half of the places, you know, these regional supermarkets and the distributors in the food industry. She's an expert there. So it's like, you know what, you're in to manage Professor Nuts. And it's like, we'll agree it together, but you're going to go out and you'll take the lead a little bit on, like, knowing the accounts. But so she's an expert. So, and that was she's changing the dynamic. I can't wait for you to you'll get to meet her and speak to her, because I know what you're doing with your popcorn. We might be able to help there, because we're going to be in the mass market with Professor Nuts in 6 months.
Hey, Joe, real quick, what are you doing for content? I mean, I've seen some of your stuff on YouTube, but, like, are you doing a lot of in-house stuff, or do you have a team?
Yeah, so we've got, like, Alex Fricky, who was with us, and he went, like, a couple of years ago. He's really good. Well, he was in the first ever John Wick film. Mm-hmm. So he's got an acting background, and he was in the WWE, like, the reality series. What was it called? Like, the first one?
WWF, right?
No, it was WWE. No, it was the one on MTV. They had a reality thing. Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, I don't know.
Or something. Was it that?
Yeah. I watched it. I thought it was awesome. I just can't remember the name of it. But
yeah, so he's from that background. Obviously, he's been in the industry for a long time. So he does content on products like the 1 minute videos, like the sell points for the retailers who don't want to go in depth. Then we've got Alex Kickle, the coach, who's just like he's like me, but his whole thing is like coaching and like putting out reading studies. So I mean, I think it was the Matador video that he did. I think he had something like 150 studies, like cited at the bottom of his video, you know, on the materials. So he's doing the lengthy videos, and this is something we're going to be able to send out to you. Or so if you've got a franchisee who doesn't understand the product, you go, hey Frank, they're carrying a Minotaur, they're carrying Shreddable, they're carrying citrus bergamot, they're carrying ashwagandha. have you got anything for them? Well, okay, here's the quick and dirty 1 minute sell point video with the main highlights. Here's like the 8 to 10 minute in-depth science video for this product.
Yeah.
There's your tools. If you've got any questions, come back to us. Yeah.
And that's a huge asset for us, because I want to replicate myself in the stores to a certain point. Like, I like educated staff, and the franchisees for me is the same thing. I don't care if they're in Texas or Minneapolis, they still represent our name. So trying to get them the tools as much as they can to be able to learn and become the expert in their field. What you guys give us is huge.
Well, that's it, Tim. I mean, we understand what you need. It's like, I've never been a sales guy. Obviously, I've sold and I had to sell because I was by myself, so I built the brand. So I can sell. But I don't like selling on, hey, buy this. It's the best. It's this. We'll do you a deal on this. It's like, I'm going to give you one of the best products, or the best product in a category that I believe at this moment in time. I'm going to give you good margin, and I'm going to give you all the tools to sell the product.
Yeah.
When you've got someone coming and offering you that, and guess what? You know, we'll protect the price as well, so it's never devalued. So your margin's always going to be there. That to me is like, if you don't have a retailer who's like, okay, that's worth a shot, then the retailer really needs it. So he's head testing. They're not educating their customer base, and they won't belong in the industry because they're just selling. They're order takers.
Yeah.
You know, they'll come in for a Celicar C4. They're selling a C4. You know, they're not, I don't want nothing against that company, but there's not much in that product for the price. You can give them something much better, or 2 products, you know.
Well, see, I mean, that was us. We were so honest with customers, even when we had something like that in our store. It's like, hey, they come in looking for it. And I'm like, and I'd tell them the other options, but they really wanted the C4. That people liked us so much. I'd be like, well, hey, do you have a Costco membership? Because you can get 2 jugs for $5 more over there than I can sell it to you. And they'd laugh. They go, are you serious? I'm like, I'm dead serious. I'm like, but then I was honest, but I want a customer for a lifetime because I was real. I'm like, if you want a superior product, I got it. But if you're looking for the cheapest thing, I go, honestly, 5-minute drive over there is going to save you $10.
Yeah.
And it was always cool about it. And I think that's why, and all those brands who do that pricing stuff don't exist in our stores anymore. Anyways, eventually people just, expect to get the best advice from us more than they do the best, deal always. But
well, they're all dying off anyway. You know, look how many brands turn up because they can't evolve, and they've only got and if you're a social media influencer, I tell you what, if you haven't got any any real solid base, any longevity, you're done in 18 months. So you better make money in 18 months because everyone gets bored of everyone eventually.
Oh, exactly.
You know, why do I not do videos very often or come out and talk much? Because people have seen me for God knows how many years. I always evolve with my education. Yeah. And I always put out new information and nuggets when it's of value. But do you need different faces? Yeah. So it's like,
I've seen that.
You've got a good team of athletes, so it's like you can always keep rotating because you give the people the same voice and the same face over and over. It's like, they don't even hear it or see it. It's like, it's that again.
And we've seen that over the last couple of years. We really see that with you. You've really expanded your team. I know you've had Brad with you for years, but we've seen a lot of people bring on hey, Joe, was it Joey?
Ashlyn and Joey.
Yeah, and Ashlyn. And you've got athletes. That we know that they're. It's nice having different faces. You also started doing a podcast too. Is that correct? Did you?
Yeah, me and Justin Compton and Dominic Cardone. I think we're 28 episodes in now. Well, that's just us. I've been going to do a podcast for years, honestly, and I just always talk myself out of it because I don't like doing a great deal of talking to the public. But when I'm in front of a camera, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah. But it's just the build-up. Even this morning, it was an hour. I'm climbing the walls an hour before this, oh man, I don't even know what we're going to talk about. I always worry to the nth degree. It's the same before I travel. Yeah. I've been traveling for God knows how many years, but you ask Frank how early I need to be at the airport. He's we have so many arguments if we travel together. It's we'll just get there 30 minutes before, fine, we can get through. I'm like, dude, I want to be there an hour and a half before. I want to sit. If I can sit and do emails and have a coffee if we're early. I'm like, if we're running late, we miss that flight. We are screwed.
You can curse. You can absolutely curse here. Hey, I've got a very serious question for you. This is the hardest hitting question of the day. Are you a football fan? And when I say football, I mean soccer.
Oh, 100%. I grew up on soccer.
Who's your team?
Well, we won't discuss that.
Oh no, because they're not. What is it, Man U?
No. You don't disclose it because we're one of the strongest teams in the league, actually, because we're at the bottom and we're holding everybody else up.
Everton? No, I'm trying to think.
That's Aston Villa.
Oh, okay.
I started supporting them when I was 4 years old, so like I'm 30 years in.
Well, you're a big guy, so I didn't know maybe rugby was more your thing, or.
No, I played soccer as soon as I could stand up, and I stopped playing. You see, I'm even calling it soccer now. I've been here for too long.
Yeah.
I stopped playing when I was about 21, 22, because I was a central midfielder, and you're up and down the pitch. And I'd start these at like £196 box to box, and then like, because I was bodybuilding, 2 months into the season, I'd be £230 and couldn't breathe.
Holy crap! That's crazy.
The off season coincides with the soccer season.
Somebody needed to teach you how to play some American football.
Do you know what? I'm learning. I got addicted to. I put Netflix on because I don't watch TV, so my TV had not been on for about 7 months.
Yeah.
Until this lockdown, and then I switched Netflix on. I think it's going to be 3 weeks ago this weekend, and I got hooked on All American.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, which is American football. So
yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm learning, and Brad's into it. Frank's a big football freak. So like when I was staying with Frank in Joanne in Texas, like they'd always have the games on. I've been to a couple of TCU games.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I'm willing to learn. I don't mind it actually.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films was Draft Day. I don't know if you've seen that.
Draft Day is a great film.
The Cleveland Browns.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah, you should check out Friday Night Lights, and then also check out if you know anybody with an Amazon Prime. It's like Netflix, but it's Amazon.
I've got it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you should check out the All or Nothing, and they do All or Nothing for soccer and for football. But the Eagles are this year, and it's pretty good. It's a good season.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll check that out.
It's a cool documentary. Yeah, it's behind the scenes NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah,
but
I'm on.
Well, anyway, I had to ask you that because I figured with being from, do you have dual citizenship then, or?
No, so I need to get married.
Well, I've got a girlfriend I can introduce you to. I'm just kidding. My girlfriend wants to get married. She wants to get married, so
I'm going to judge the success of this podcast on the amount of DMs that I get.
Yes,
nice.
I mean, in all seriousness, I've got quite a unique visa, and I won't go into it too much. That was the most difficult year of my life.
I remember you couldn't come back over. Yeah.
Was 2017, so I couldn't get into the United States. So I applied for a standard business visa, which I was told to apply for, which would give me a year and you just keep renewing it. And that was rejected because I was the owner of the limited company, which is the equivalent of an LLC in the UK. And I was the owner of an LLC. Well, now it's two LLCs because Professor Nuts is a separate LLC. So I was the owner of the LLC over in the United States. So that rejection is on my record now. So that's why I've not left the country it's going to be a full year, and I'm scared to leave the country. So I won't fly out of the USA until the situation changes with Trump, and they aren't even doing anything with visas now, because every time I would fly back, I would get stopped and questioned for 2, 3, 4 hours.
Seriously,
I couldn't deal with the stress. So I've got a 5-year visa, but I'm a sponsee through the UK company. So I had to prove that we did sufficient international trade to warrant a visa, and that process took 11 months and was about $12,000, and the final document was 515 pages that was submitted to the embassy.
That's insane. Do you know anybody that travels from the United States to the UK a lot? Well, you do, but do they have the same issue over there?
It depends on what they're traveling as, because I never had any problems for the first 9 years because I was just coming for 6 weeks or so. So it was coming over on like an Esther as if I was a tourist. And then it was 2016 Olympia I went over. They looked at my history like, you're coming an awful lot, because then I was going 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 8 weeks backwards and forwards. And I was like, yeah. Like, well, what are you doing? Because you're not a tourist. So I was like, oh, shit, they're not going to let me through. I was like, well, I've got some interest to see your import. I was like, well, it's like, you just, next time, just get a business visa. You get one, no problem. So I'm like, that kind of makes sense. If they're going to be turning me away or I have to live. The worst thing when you're flying over and the prospect of landing, then being put on a plane to come back again. With the rejection of the standard business visa, that's just, it's on my record. So it looks like I've got something against me or I've done something wrong. So me getting in the country is really, really difficult. And I've never outstayed my welcome in the US. I've never had a criminal conviction. So it's just, even my lawyer, I've had 2 lawyers work on it. The one who got me the original visa, and recently, about 6-7 months ago, I hired another US lawyer to look at it for me. And they were like, well, you shouldn't have a problem. And I was due to fly home at Christmas, and I just couldn't take the risk. I'd even bought the tickets, but my lawyer was like, well, this is all I can really give you. It's like a kind of script for when you're coming back. I'm like, dude, if I'm coming back, I need to have a ton of supporting evidence. I've got to be fully prepped. So I just didn't even fly back. So that's crazy. Why my family, I don't know if you saw, in February, it was cool because they kind of surprised me. They said, oh, we're going to come and see you probably next week. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, because my nephew's 2 years old. If you don't see a child for a year at 2 years old, it's a completely different part of life. Yeah. So my brother and his partner, his mother, my nephew's mother, came out for 2 weeks, and they flew back the week before the coronavirus started.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, man, some things are just meant to be.
Yeah, no shit. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Like, I can't wait to get you actually up here in Nebraska. Hopefully this summer, as soon as we can get a date figured out when all this crazy
is
over.
In the fancy studio, see Seth Ferosi in there, you guys like having a laugh, like all professionally done. I'm like, typical that I have to do it on Zoom in my like makeshift.
You were set to come. You were set to come here like 4 weeks ago, but this shit. So, but get you up here in the summer.
Were booked and everything, and I was like, I was been looking forward to it for so long because I hadn't been out on the road and I've not been up to see you guys. I think it was like Valentine's week in 19. 19.
Born right after Roman was born, wasn't it? Or was he born yet?
He wasn't born. I don't think he was born yet.
I think it was right before she had him a year ago. It's over a year ago, yeah. So it's, or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, I can't remember.
Let's catch up with Nick,
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's he just keeps getting bigger. So, He's
taking advantage of lockdown, right?
Yeah, he just, they just had a baby about a week ago.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, and so then, between that and lifting weight, he's just, it's...
he's on the same eating schedule as the baby, right?
Yeah, every 35 minutes. It's insane.
He's got something different in his mouth, though.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you this summer, man.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you hugely, both as personal friends and on the business end. So
absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
See you, Joe.
All right, take care.
Moral of the story is, you are you, and I am me. Just be. I'm a gentleman, now I'm settled in. Even when they said don't let them in, I said guess again. What's the way I walk into a room and everybody stare? Godfather-like presence, everybody know I'm here. Stepping right into my office, pouring bourbon on the rocks. Toast to the homies that could never see the light, and the haters that forever see my ghost. What a night.